I forgot something. Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Dope People podcast. This is the 8th episode, I believe. Wow, 8 is such a beautiful number. The number of infinity. So that's awesome. I just grabbed myself a warm cup of coffee and I just started the heating inside the house, which makes a really beautiful difference. The camera is kind of going crazy. Okay, was making it darker and brighter. I'm just gonna get cozy and look for an angle that is okay. This is my super private setting. It's where I'm currently staying. Okay, so it looks like if I place my head in front of the twinkle lights, you kind of see my face a little bit more with the light. Whereas if I do this, there's no fucking difference. I don't know. I just want to be comfortable. Wow. It's the morning. It's 7:30. Well, 7:27 to be precise. And I just pretty much woke up, jumped in the shower, made coffee. And before doing that, I wrote some notes quickly about a dream I just had and ideas twirling around my head. So I figured, like I did the other day, I'm just skipping my morning practice of morning pages, which is where I write for 3 pages a random stream of consciousness on paper. And I'm just going to go ahead and do my random stream of consciousness here instead. And now I just feel the need to rewind and explain what got me here, which is also another parenthesis to the fact that I was explaining about how holographic minds don't always think chronologically, but I can definitely build a thread. And for some reason, it feels important to me. So I was thinking about that in the shower, how one strategy as a teacher was to never spend energy imagining what my students would what they would be acting like throughout the day. I felt like it was a total waste of energy to imagine the possible scenarios of how they would receive my lessons, because that is so out of my control. But I definitely spent time visualizing if I had a structured lesson that I had been working on that I wanted to deliver a particular kind of way. But I was just thinking about that in the shower because it was reminding me that, oh shit, if I want to show up authentically, which is my intention with this whole creative exploration, I want to make sure that I'm not investing energy in visualizing how I show up ahead of time, because if I do so, then when I do show up, it's planned, and that means it's not as authentic anymore. And that also reminds me of something that Bradley Cooper said in an interview with, maybe it was with Russell Brand, about how if he practices for a scene ahead of time, then if he does it on set when the camera's recording, it's like not as authentic anymore. So he focuses simply on becoming the character and then expressing as authentically as possible in the moment as the character. And so, well, in relation to that, I just wanted to point out the importance for me to, I guess, not plan ahead. And well, today I come with a few little notes like this, um, just because it's what's on my mind this morning. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can think about that. I can share my thought process instead of clarifying it all by myself. I can actually share what goes on when I'm processing this and what comes to mind when I see those topics, because they're pretty grand topics if I look at this. And I can see what it's influenced by, because our dreams are all based off of information we've been recording throughout the day, and it's just like our subconscious mind making sense of all that information. Plus, well, it brings it to the surface so that we can look at it, and we learn a lot about ourselves through our subconscious mind, because if you didn't know, the subconscious mind rules about 97% of our life, something like that, between 95 and over, if I'm not mistaken, numbers. But it's like super powerful. So dreams bring that to the surface, and that's why I make it a practice sometimes to write them as I wake up, so that I can also train my brain to recall my dreams. It allows me to gather a bit more data around what is going on, so I can be a little bit more aware than what I was prior to it, perhaps. So, the journey of self exploration continues, and this morning it continues in a particular direction that is super interesting. One influence that has been infiltrating my mind recently is the book that I'm currently reading. It's called The Left Hand of Darkness, and that book is about it's science fiction set in the future on planets and universes where the people are androgynous, and that means they don't have like a gender assigned to them. And then in the book, once a year, there's this celebration where every person can pick a gender for themselves, and they make a vow to a person of their choice to stay with them, something like that. It's quite cute. And I'm not far in the book, but it's fascinating because it talks about the relation to time and space, and the difference between valuing progress or presence, which is so big, and how time is changing, and psychic abilities, all those things. It's a really incredible book, and it came out in like 1960s, if I'm not mistaken. Probably am. Check your facts. So this morning, I'm gonna go ahead with what I wrote, and I'm not gonna judge it. The first thing I wrote is desires / acceptance. And I made a little drawing to illustrate what I mean here. So if you look at desires, there's a pointing arrow. It means that we're heading somewhere. We are chasing something. Whereas acceptance, you have us in the middle, the individual, and a circle around with all the stars, kind of like, it's not stars, sorry, like, let's say that each line is a perspective, a point of view around. So acceptance is that being anchored in the present moment and not trying to move to a different place. And So I wrote that desires are the energy of chasing something, whereas acceptance is the energy of being simply. So it's the doing and the being. And it appears that a lot of us at this time, we are learning truly what it means to be a human being and not a human doing. So it's a very broad topic, but I guess it's going to tie in with some of the ideas floating around right now. The next thing I wrote is right here, surrendering to change versus initiating change as a way to avoid the present moment. And well, what comes to mind when I think of that is the amount of energy we invest in one or the other, and how much we can waste energy by resisting what is going on. And it's a little bit what I was finding myself toying with yesterday. It was super cloudy outside and rainy, and I was finding myself to be a bit like meh, meh, dot, meh. Like, I wasn't super excited. I wasn't super high energy, and I was asking myself, what do I need? And I just heard my dog scratch on the other side of the door. Focus. So I was pretty much reminding myself yesterday to not resist the present moment, because it always is so perfect. It's just a matter of perspective and seeing the perfection in what is. Of course, we can point out the fact that I'm extremely privileged, and I get to entertain these ideas and indulge in this reality where my physical being and my emotional being are not being abused or threatened. So there's that. And that's also going to tie up with today's theme of abuse and threats in some type of way, because we're going to get there. Okay. Third thing I wrote on my notebook is patience. So it's the third kind of grand idea. Yeah. So when we're learning what it means to be a human being, which means that we communicate through our frequency, through the energy we emit, as opposed to using words and other types of forms that can alter the essence of the message. Energy doesn't lie. Words and stories, we can say all types of things, and it's very easy to lie to ourselves. We lie to ourselves a lot. Like, I can make up a story around anything that is happening in my experience, and it might be coming from a place of ego, of wanting to protect myself. So it's very easy to get caught up in that. And when we're talking about energy, there's no way around what is truly felt and experienced. It can become confusing at times when we try and make a story around it that matches the felt experience. But we're learning, I'm learning. So when it comes to patience, there's a really big theme here around the idea of, well, for me, it ties with a few particular beliefs that I choose to entertain, which are everything happens perfectly the way it's supposed to. I believe that, and I know that it's hard to entertain this belief when we're in a challenging situation. But I truly believe that everything we experience is for us, it is for our evolution, it is uniquely tailored to our specific and unique frequency. It is, although I this is an interesting thing I have observed is that some people who have a similar frequency, while we find ourselves in each other's realm. For example, look at your friends, look at how much you're vibing together. You are connected for a reason. It's because your energy is attracted to each other. It's because you attract more of the same. You attract what is resonant. Like the way I see it is like you have wavelengths, and if they're a similar wavelength, they're just gonna like unite and come together. So what I have observed when it comes to um, how unique the experience is for everybody, but how similar it can be. So I'm going to go with a specific story here and it might help illustrate. When I was in Thailand, I was in Pai. It's a beautiful small town in the mountains in the north of Thailand. It's about 4 hours away from Chiang Mai. It was one of my favorite places. It's absolutely beautiful, kind of like a hippie town. And you had a mix of foreign, like expat people there who are living abroad, maybe working online and doing their thing. Or you also have locals who maybe own businesses, bars, and all sorts of fun stuff there, boutiques and restaurants. And when I was there, I met this person who ended up having a super similar story to mine. It was crazy. It like down to the names of people in their life, to the role these people played in the experience, and obviously this gives me information about the energy that we both have. It was somewhat similar on some levels, I imagine. And it also gives me insight into the kind of experiences the kind of experience we might be in. Like, how do we create something for ourselves? Why does this happen to us? Why are things unfolding the way they are for us individually? And it shows me how there's perhaps some sort of coding going on, kind of like patterns in nature. They are very specific, and you know how they say that the whole universe is like math, which I can't really extend on the topic, but the way I understand it is that, well, this experience showed me that there's some sort of coding going on because it was so similar, and maybe kind of like neurons in the brain firing information from one neuron to another. It's like light traveling from the axon of and the dendrites of one neuron going to the other neuron, and it creates all these patterns and these codings and these paths within our brains. And similarly, the experience of life we have here on a grander level is kind of like that. It's like our choices based on the psychological choices we make and our interpretations of all experiences, they create a path for ourselves. And when we have a similar way of interpreting data as somebody else, well, we may be creating a similar path as them. So our story might seem similar. And that was my little parenthesis regarding the coding and how we create experiences for ourselves. And It also makes me think about a conversation I was having with my mom yesterday. Oh my god, so many ideas. Okay, let's try and follow a thread here. When it comes to the paths we take, because well, my mom kind of pointed out the fact that um, what I'm doing or not doing right now appears as a little strange. It looks weird. And she said it with lots of love and compassion, and no, I didn't take it as an offense whatsoever. I agree that it may look a little bit weird from the outside. I mean, I stopped working as a teacher when I had a permanent position, and I honestly had a beautiful lifestyle in Thailand, like amazing. And even my work in Toronto, teaching there, I was loving it. I only keep good memories of it. But I understand that from the outside perspective, I'm now back at my parents, uh, and I'm not working. I'm not. I don't want to say that, but like I'm not taking a job. I have offers. I'm just again. This is I'm super privileged. I hear myself as I say it. I'm like holy fuck! The fact that I get to afford this for now temporarily, to put all these societal expectations on standby and just focus on what am I creating? What is my energy like? Where am I investing my focus? How am I being of service to the world? And this is a very big question that I started asking myself when when lockdown started. I'm sure all of you had lots of time to reflect on like what is my work here? What am I here for? And I was receiving all these messages in meditation about the art of being. And when we start understanding everything through the lens of energy and frequency, as our dear Nikola Tesla said it, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. And it really simplifies things so much because, as you can tell, we have so many stories going on inside our mind, and our mind doesn't know. It doesn't know the truth. The truth is always in the heart. But when we think with our minds of the experiences we go through in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, it becomes a lot easier because we can detach from the stories. We can still use them if we're aware of them, and we can try and find clarity in them. Like, where did that come from? Why am I thinking this way? But ultimately, if I just think about the energy behind my actions and my choices, it helps me clear things up a lot. And one thing that I realized when lockdown started is that if I want to be helping myself in any way, because I was going through some stuff, I have to take care of my energy. And that requires for me to be so fully honest with myself. And there was such a process there. There was really, really many steps to just getting to where I am now and being able to express and sharing what goes on inside my mind. And I'm gonna share a way that I hacked my brain in that time, which is still serving me to this day. And it's part of the story I choose to entertain in order to align with what I feel is of utmost service right now that I can do. And that is, well, so when we think of our energy, I believe that our highest service, the biggest service I can give to humanity on an energetical level is to keep my frequency high, to keep vibrating, making the move with my hand for anyone who's not seeing with their eyes right now, at a higher pace, faster. And so think of the energies of excitement, joy, ecstasy, bliss. All those are super high frequencies. Love is like the highest frequency. Love. So if we want to be of service to humanity and we want to use that energetical lens to understand it, by embodying those feelings, that is our biggest service. It's to embody these feelings. And like I said, energy doesn't lie. So if I'm doing something that I hate doing, and I keep telling myself that I love doing it, no, I actually really love like working that job that, makes me cry and my body's trembling because anxiety. But no, I love it. I don't, no, I swear, like that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's a big incoherence, and again, the theme of coherence is super big when it comes to keeping a high frequency, because those high vibrations, they are accessible through flow state and through ease. And if we want to be in that state, because it is not something to do, it is something to embody, to be. I am feeling something, it passes through. It's definitely a being something, feeling. I'm trying to think about the difference between feeling and being. I guess you can. We are beings that feel things. So what was I saying? Let me take a sip of coffee and just find my idea. The last note I brought up was patience, and I'm pretty sure I went off rail with that one. I was thinking about the high frequencies, oh yes, and how I hacked my brain when lockdown started. So I told myself, because I was struggling to help myself, that if I want to be of service to humanity, I have to take care of myself. And that's why I really started focusing on getting myself better from patterns that I was finding myself caught up in that weren't serving me. So whenever I was having a compulsion or wanting to return to old encoded patterns that I had learned from just coping previously, I was telling myself, okay, focus on your energy. You have to get your energy better if you want to help the world. So when it comes to me having the opportunity to not give my energy to a job that doesn't fulfill me, I kind of see it in relation to that. But I ask myself, what is the possibility that is being offered to me right now so that I can step into the highest frequency on this day? Like, what can I do that is going to make me feel better? And I was asking myself this question yesterday. I was asking myself, what do I need? Because I feel meh. And I was toying with the ideas of avoiding being with myself because I'm not in a super high state. And then also asking myself, what is the next right move? What one choice can I make that's going to make me feel slightly better? Maybe it's drinking water. Yesterday it was, well, often listening to music is really like a big game changer. Yeah. sunlight, but there was no sun yesterday. Then healthy food can really help me. So one thing that definitely raised my vibration yesterday was eating a mango, because it felt like I was consuming sunlight because it was so bright and it made me feel happy. So you see how I'm really focused on creating an internal experience that is going to project outwards. And then the other thing that was super helpful was going for a long walk in the forest with, well, I was gonna say with music on, but yesterday I went with my mom and it was pretty fun. I found out that I think it was my first time hiking with her, at least in a very long time, in a forest, the way in that one that I remember doing. And she definitely goes off path and she takes some random ass trails and she does not assess her trajectory the way that I would. But I followed, I went along, and it was fun. It was an adventure. So back to the ideas floating around this morning. my dream my dream was fascinating. It was about okay. I'm reminding myself of of I just thought about Eric Gotzi right now. Shout out Eric Gotzi. For anybody who doesn't know the guy, he interprets dreams and talks a lot about the subconscious and is pretty much obsessed with Carl Jung and the whole psychoanalytical lens. So he does a lot of work in the field of psychology, and he will reform the DSM-5 as we know it because it is outdated. Strong claim, I know, but I support it and I see it. So aside from that, in my dream, there was this thing about magnetism and the magnetics, because it's also a very emerging theme right now when we're talking about energy. There is the topics of attraction and magnetics. And in my dream, there were these androgynous people, and I mean, I think that we see a lot, and like we see more and more people that appear as non-binary or more, to me it's just an expression of finding balance in your energy. We all have masculine and feminine energy within us, and when the masculine and the feminine energy are both aligned, that's actually when our energy center, when our energy flows the most efficiently. Like all those yogic practices, and they relate to aligning the feminine and the masculine energy within for balance. So to me, when I see people who appear as androgynous, I'm like, it's a manifestation of energies that are perhaps more balanced when it comes to the spectrum of gender fluidity and just energies. But I can't generalize. I just see it that way, and I think it has something to do with that. So in my dream, I saw this is going to be so random. I saw Miley Cyrus, who was in a train station looking at the room, like the big train station around, and I'm looking at her through like a surveillance camera, And she's like super inspired, looking at all around her. And that is also inspired by a movie I recently watched, which was called Everybody's Talking About Jamie. If you're curious about it, it's on Prime Video and maybe Amazon as well. I don't know, I'm sure you'll figure it out. But it's about this queer person who, well, the boy wants to become a drag queen, and he's this beautiful being who also, I think I thought about it because um, it's connected with Miley Cyrus and that whole idea that I've been toying with yesterday about the what I call the twinkle zone. And to me, the twinkle zone is that zone when your eyes are twinkling because you're thinking about something that really lights you up. And to me, this is a sign of the dreams that we hold within ourselves. And I think that there are people on this earth right now who show a lot of the twinkle zone in their eyes because they are so focused on this special thing they hold within themselves, and when that special thing, it can be a dream or a potential or any idea that really lights you up. Pretty much people who are holding on to hope, people who are holding a light that you can see in their eyes when they are focused on whatever they perceive, whatever beauty they perceive. And in my dream, Miley Cyrus was just one of those people. She is looking around, lost in the crowd, and she's just like, you know, maybe she's thinking about the history of the building and all the people involved in creating it, or maybe she's admiring the architecture and all the forms and the structural beauty of the space she's in, or maybe she's thinking about the people she's going to meet, or the show she's going to give, or the song she's about to create, or the melody she hears inside her head. Whatever she's thinking about, it lights her up. And I think we all have that. We have the ability to be in the twinkle zone. And that was something I was seeing in my dream. And it was something I was thinking about yesterday when I was wanting to feel more uplifted, because I want to be of service, but also my biggest service is to take care of my energy and do what is best for me, that lights me up, and that just puts me in a state where I can really fill my own cup, and that allows me to give more to other people in return. So in relation with the magnetism in my dream, that was very random, but there was this clothing store, and there was a big bodyguard type man, kind of like Men in Black style, also like like this bald guy, with a very large body, and he touched my arm, and I felt like a magnet. And then that really made me wonder in my dream, like, have I just been decalibrated? What just happened? And then I had this view of, like, I was on top of a big field, like an agricultural field, and I was definitely like higher up, and it was nighttime, so there was stars and this sort of like purple, like auroras borealis type of light in the sky. And pretty much I think I was like kind of seeing the Schumann resonance, which is the resonance of the earth. And it was just tying in with the I don't know, there's a cosmic relation to all this. Earth is in space, and the energy that Earth is vibrating at is interconnected with everything, I imagine. So there's that. Um, and then I wrote in my book. So I wrote about the dream, the magnetism, the Schumann resonance, the dream bearers, and all the queers. Yeah, all the queer people. Because the queer people, if you look at them, this is just me talking about my observations. If you look at queer people, they have gone through so much pain and rejection. And yet, they are the people who learn to love themselves. And when you learn to love yourself, regardless of all the rejection and the threats and the hate you've received, and the people who are quite literally telling you that they don't want you to exist, when you affirm your existence by being, not by doing anything, just by being yourself. When being yourself is the fucking resistance, it's the revolution. A resistance on the part of people who are afraid of the unknown, because what is this? If you don't understand, how can somebody be non-binary, or how can you be so fluid, or how can you one day feel this way, the next day feel that way? It's so foreign. It looks so weird and strange from the outside, and we don't necessarily understand it. So yes, there might be some resistance there. But when you learn about unconditional love, oh my God, unconditional love is like the highest frequency of being. That's a fucking service to humanity. That's a service. I think if I can leave all of you with a message today, it's that people are not always going to understand what you are doing, or how you choose to be. What is of utmost importance is that you keep yourself in check, and that you act from a place of what is serving you best. Because remember that your energy is your gift to the world. So instead of actively trying to change the world, which for some people, doing that is what is going to put them in a highest frequency. Let's also acknowledge that we all have different gifts here, and the mission that we are given is encoded within us. And so if for you your thing is to paint, and that makes you feel so amazing, that's your thing. If for you it's to join that protest and share love, that's your thing. If for you it's to create that business and offer that specific service that you are so passionate about, that's your thing, you know? we all have a place of alignment within us where we're acting in accordance with how we feel and how we think. And that's so unique to all of us. It's really unique, and it's gonna look strange to people who are following the path that has been taught to them, and that is the mainstream path. But if you're following the mainstream path, are you following yours or somebody else's? Things to ponder about. I hope you do something for yourself today. I hope you take care of your energy. In other words, just be kind to yourself. Accept yourself how you are, and ask yourself, what is the next right choice I can make? Just one choice that is going to make you feel good. Maybe it's to simply rest. I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for listening. Wow. Just the idea to me that somebody is receiving those thoughts that I hope bring some sort of value to you is amazing. And I will talk to you again soon. Until next time, dope people, just stay as you be. You are loved. You are seen. And I'll talk to you soon.